made a decision on what the little catchphrase should be. I guess we don't ever really need one, but I think it's cool, and I really like that one saying. So I think an easy way to say it, because it's kind of translating the saying from Chinese, from Mandarin. So maybe we can say, uh, enlighten the mind and strengthen the body. So that's what we're here for. And with that being said, I want to just actually we have a couple couple announcements. So this coming one Monday at UCLA, we're going to be basically our classes are going to start again. And one of the students told me how people from like the like who are not students at UCLA, who are not staff, who are not faculty, they can still take the classes. So you would go to uclarecreation.com, and then you would have to join the gym, but supposedly the links are there. And then once you join the gym, then you can enroll in the classes. I pretty much only teach Sanda, and I teach Sanda, Taiji, and sometimes well, I teach, of course, catch wrestling and other things, but specifically like the kung fu stuff, that's all at UCLA. I don't teach outside of the university. I teach catch wrestling at Fight Science MMA, so that's always available. It's always an option. But with that being said, um, you can join us now, or you've always been able to, but I just never knew exactly how. But yeah, it should be through UCLA Recreation. Join the gym, and then you can, which is public, so it'd be relatively inexpensive compared to all the private gyms in Los Angeles. And then you can take the classes, or then you can enroll in the classes, basically. So it doesn't seem as hard as it once seemed. So they're out there for you, because we've had people do it in the past, and then now we're having someone who enrolled for this quarter, and so he let me know, and then so now I want to share it with everyone because this question comes up often. All right. Another thing, so it's not necessarily an announcement, but let's go and talk about the World Junior Wushu Championship. It just finished. There was, of course, I've learned forms in the past. I don't really care about them that much. What I care more about is the Sanda. And so this was the Junior World Championship. So what that means is it's not the adults, basically all like the 18 and unders competing. They even have the like children's division, so they will be wearing like shin guards and stuff. So um, everyone did very well. I've always been really impressed with the juniors because at a young age they can do some advanced grappling. So because in Sanda, you can, of course, you can grab the legs and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be judo. I would never call it judo, because in judo you can't do a lot of these things. So even though there's some similarities, I would have to say it's advanced shuaijiao, or traditional Chinese jacket wrestling. That's where our takedowns came from, all the fast throws and stuff. So really, it's very impressive to see the children do that at such a high level. So, and if you're interested in seeing what's cool about it, is the International Wushu Federation. They stream it on YouTube. Every competition they stream, so you can just go check it out. But the only thing is, they stream the whole thing, so there's hours and hours of content. So I'd say go check it out. Or even check out our channel. I scoured all these hours of Sanda matches, and I've been sharing a lot of the highlights on our not our stories, on our shorts. And so you can check out a lot of them. There's still many that I haven't posted. I think I'll just keep posting because I still have a few other clips that are really cool, both men and women, or like not men and women's actually. What teen boys and girls divisions. are pretty great, pretty great, and not just like the Chinese. Actually, there was many upsets. Chinese competitors losing to people from other countries. So there's some really great matches. So go ahead and check it out. It's on YouTube. But you can also check out our shorts because I put a lot of highlights up there. So like if you don't want to scour all these hours and hours of matches. But with that being said, so uh, one more thing. So the United States national wushu tournament is happening in Phoenix at the end of May. So I think this time I'll be there. One of my students wants to compete in Sanda, so we'll see. I'm sure even you might even see the UCLA Taolu team there. I'll double check because we do have like a wushu club. Uh, it should specific for those of you who know about wushu and how the tournaments go. So the forms are actually called taolu, and then the fighting, the kickboxing is called sanda. So at UCLA, unfortunately, I guess it probably doesn't matter for people who don't care, but we have a wushu club, but all they do is our forms, right? So we more specifically should just be called a taolu club, but anyway, because they don't do sanda, right? Uh, Um, but anyway, I plan on being there. I have a student who trains in my classes who wants to compete. So um, yeah, we'll just keep working hard and hope to show you guys what happens. Okay, so let's get to the main subject at hand. New kickboxing meta, right? So what does that even mean? Basically, nowadays you hear the word meta all over the place, has many meanings, but in this case, it means like the mode of, or was it most effective technique available. And so what we're seeing nowadays, specifically, I think it kind of started with actually a video that I just released maybe a couple weeks ago, was based off of uh, Chen Wang at last summer's World Sanda tournament. He was using a lot of boxing, a lot of uppercuts, um, a lot of say like frames. Not He was still able to get a lot of takedowns, of course, but he was able to use his kickboxing, his striking to win matches. And I think it was like the semifinal against the United States. He basically he almost TKO'd the American, knocked him down with strikes. So on the verge of a TKO that he just ran out of time. Basically, he totally would have knocked out the American. So looking into how the training's going and at these universities of physical education is that they are really starting to emphasize the kickboxing. So not necessarily Muay Thai, right, but kickboxing, because these fighters who are doing Sanda, to give them more opportunities after they graduate, then they can compete in like pro kickboxing matches, right? So you see kickboxing really growing, like at one championship, you have Glory, you have even K1 coming back, right? You have we kind of did a video about Mona Kimura. She's going to fight again coming up pretty soon. But so in China, you're having these up and comer kickboxers who then take the time to work on pro kickboxing rules, also boxing. So actually, I think I even did a podcast about a month ago about talking about what are the best styles to counter or like to cross train with to improve your sanda. Of course, boxing, kickboxing, and traditional Chinese wrestling are the top three, right? If you want to be good at sanda. So even though I do catch wrestling, I also did Shuai Jiao because so that's why I recommend the Shuai Jiao, because that is the style where Sanda took the takedowns from. So since there are no submissions in Sanda, right, you don't continue fighting on the ground and stuff. So you don't really need to be learning that. So if you only want to focus on the Sanda stuff, then of course you should learn the wrestling style that they took all the throws from, right? So Shuai Jiao, kickboxing, boxing, three main cross training styles that you'd want to learn. So we are seeing that like these students who are doing these things are now winning kung fu sanda tournaments, sanda championships, but then also doing very well in pro kickboxing. So you're seeing that in one championship a lot. I watch those matches like all the time, and we're having these Chinese pro kickboxers really moving up the ranks. So I kind of wanted to talk about what are some of the specific things that kickboxers are doing. So it doesn't have to be Chinese kickboxers, but we are seeing kind of a shift, right? So what happened was a few weeks ago now in one championship, Nango, the one of the best Muay Thai fighters, got knocked out really fast by Abdullah. I forgot his. I mean, his last name is pretty long, but it's slipping my mind right now. He's considered kind of like this new style kickboxer, right? Dagestani. They're calling it Dagestani Muay Thai, but he has like a Taekwondo background. He's mixing a lot of these things, like I was talking about how some of the Chinese fighters are mixing kick cross training with the boxing and the kickboxing stuff. So you're not seeing them trying to be like Muay Thai, right? And so I think this is what's also happening with Abdullah. You're seeing it more and more, or even with Alizev. He's so good, or Alizav, right? He's really, really good, just destroying everyone in front of him. So we'll kind of talk about what are some specific things that they're doing. So I've written them down. So I'm sure you kind of know it, but still gonna throw it at you, right? So we can kind of mark it down, and then maybe later in a few years we'll see what's changed. Because basically what's happening is like you see people like do one thing, so you see a trend start, and then after a while people kind of build up defenses to these things. So then the trend has to change, right? So at least right now, 2026, right? You got people doing what is like a calf first strategy, right? So um, you're seeing so instead of like the traditional Muay Thai way of like chopping the thigh, right? Because of course that's very effective if they're not checking the kicks, right? And you just chop down that thigh. Eventually, they won't be able to really walk or defend themselves. But nowadays, the lower calf or the calf kick is just really dominating kickboxing, and you see MMA and stuff. So the goal, right? It takes fewer strikes to deaden the perineal nerve on the calf, right? Than to bruise a quad, right? So right now, the shift, right? The current meta, right, is fighters are using the calf kick as a jab for the legs. It's low. It's actually pretty low risk and very high reward to compromise an opponent's footwork early in the first round. So when did we see that? Of course, a Nango match. But then even a bigger example would be, oh man, totally the up and coming Chinese fighter who broke Tawan Chai's leg in the first round. Also, that just happened in one championship. So and we totally talked about that. But yeah, like low kick, like hard low kicks, and then when he got uh, when we got access to Tawan Chai's back leg and just broke it, right? So that is like kind of the first thing you're seeing with the current meta of kickboxing. Number two, high volume. You can consider even kind of like Dutch blitzing and angles, but not exactly like pure Dutch style, because a lot of times the Dutch kickboxers will definitely have their guards up, right? They'll try to rush in, try to rely on that their arms to protect their head, um, and then like they'll get close and then try to throw some combos. Not exactly that. We're gonna kind of get to that later, but what are we talking about here? So you're seeing a lot of heavy hand combinations ending in a low kick, right? Uh, so instead of standing square and trading shots, right, modern strikers are using diagonal exits, right? So what am I talking about? We're talking about even like what Alizev is doing, or sorry, Alizov, Chingiz Alizov. So what is he doing? He's not exactly just like shelling up and then going in and like throwing a few punches and then escaping. No, he will come in close and then even he'll use some head movement, right, to get to an angle to one side, throw like actually he was on YouTube talking about like one of the things he likes to throw as he kind of fades away is maybe like an uppercut, or you can throw a roundhouse kick or something as you kind of change the angle, kind of fade away. These are what is kind of different, right? What's changing. You can check out, of course, the One Championships YouTube channel. They have a lot of his fights there. He has one against one of the best Dutch style kickboxers where Alizov ends up beating him, but it's because like the guy kind of stays in that traditional Dutch style, keeping those guards up and really heavy, going in, trying to throw all these punches, high volume, which is great, and he could totally beat a lot of people. But you're seeing this trend where these kind of early adopters, or these people who are a little more um, or the vanguard of this new meta, right? They're doing other things, right? Changing these angles. And with that being said, let's go and skip to one because I think this will be a little bit different. So, um, so I have one thing listed next, but I think I want to skip to number 4, right? So, because this is exactly what we're talking about, especially with Alizov. So, we're seeing advanced distance control, a little bit modified of what's usually called like a long guard. So fighters are moving away from the earmuff high guard, right? So just like that Dutch style, um, because it obscures vision, and this allows for heavy guard breaking pressure, right? So what are we seeing? Extending one arm to measure distance and to stifle the opponent's lead hand is dominating. It allows a fighter to see incoming strikes earlier and to parry rather than to block, right? So instead of just being like this, maybe kind of moving, having these little motions where it's like you're still kind of you're having to accept the strike, right? So you're seeing a shift to parrying, right? Because you don't have to do a big motion to parry. It's just like a little similar to block, where you're usually kind of doing a small little movement, but parry is somewhat similar, right? So but you can still see a lot more than just having like this shell, right? Uh, so yeah, it allows the fighter to see incoming strikes earlier and to parry rather than to block. So preserving energy and head health, right? So this is kind of what we're seeing. And then the next point, so using the teep as a power weapon, kind of going back to Tawanchai. So he even got really popular for his special style of teep, right, which was basically shifting his teep a little bit more to the side, turning it really into more like a Samda sidekick. But then, of course, since he's Thai, then they've called it what the Thai sidekick, right? And then kind of like you'll see in other things where it's like, even though Sanda's been doing sidekick forever, people will say, "Well, I'm doing mine a little different," or so whatever. So Taiwan Chai got popular for uh, his lead leg sidekicks um, because they're effective, right? So he made it kind of popular, but what we're seeing, so using this, basically using the lead leg not only to measure distance or keep distance, right? So a lot of people were kind of thinking of it as more of a defensive push, right, to reset the distance. The front leg or the lead leg front kick is now being used as a primary offensive tool, right? So if you can kick them in the solar plexus, the face, we've even seen in history where if you can get a really well timed like teep or front kick to the face, you can get a lot of knockouts that way. So regarding like this whole meta shift, right? So still, I'd say inspired by Sanda, but you're seeing people like Tawan Chai and Muay Thai, and even some MMA fights where you've seen some knockouts with that teep. Fighters are snapping that teep rather than just pushing it, aiming to cause immediate breath loss or knockouts rather than just creating space. Right. And then this other thing, which I find really interesting. So the last point that I'll bring up is a smart defense. Right. So the smart defense is actually becoming more like it's been more identified as like a Philly shell type defense or a type adaptation. So I would never call it like a pure Philly shell because Philly shell is is truly boxing, right? But what we're seeing is like, and I kind of like say if you're doing a style, especially like Sanda. So if you're a Sanda fan, a Philly shell might be one of the better ways to hold your hands, right? When you're sparring. So what is that? So basically is you're having the lead arm will be lower, right? And the back arm is really going to be doing a lot of the defense plus your lead shoulder, right? So you're keeping that lead shoulder up, you're having the backhand up, right? So you're able to still defend with the shoulder and the hand, right? A little bit of head movement. But then what happens is also um, it makes it easier for you to catch kicks, right? So having the one hand low, it's really easy to catch these other kicks, whether they're low kicks or even like high roundhouse kicks to your head. Having this stance or the Philly shell kind of arm position uh, is uh, is like kind of it almost makes things more efficient to do these things, right? So let's see what I wrote here or what I got here. So surprisingly, some boxing centric kickboxers are integrating more head movement and shoulder rolls. While dangerous because of the head kicks, the meta now involves active head movement inside combinations to avoid the return fire that usually comes during an exchange. So we are seeing this a lot with the Chingiz Alizov, right? You're seeing that actually a lot with him. And so actually what was going on is in his match, right? Especially with like a lot of like the Dutch kickboxer, I wish I, I wish I remembered his name, but you can totally find it. He was, whenever the the opponent came in, right, Alizov would roll under, get his angle, right. So some people think that doing stuff like that in kickboxing is like a no-no or taboo or whatever, but we're seeing the people at like the highest level who are adopting some of the new meta. They're making it work, right? They're not necessarily getting knocked out and stuff like that, but they're using it to cut angles, um, being uh, being a lot more mobile, right? So that they're not around for some strikes to hit them, right? So so you're not necessarily seeing like people doing like counter roundhouse kicks and stuff when people are moving. It's still not going to be the same as, of course, boxing, right? Because a lot of times in boxing, because there are no kicks and no knees, right? So some boxers feel easy to really like bend forward to get their head out of the way. So of course, it's not going to be a pure Philly shell style, but I personally find it a much like even like a much more efficient way of defending, especially in kickboxing, especially in Sanda, because again, you can defend yourself very well, you can move, and you can catch. So since in Sanda we catch kicks a lot, I find it easier with the Philly shell style, but I believe that it is a more advanced way of defending yourself. So I don't know, maybe you'll want to like don't adopt it too quick, I guess. Maybe wait a little while until you feel like you're more comfortable with just your basic defense first, and then you can start trying like a Philly shell style. Um, Also, maybe if you're not in a boxing class or something, maybe at least look up what a Philly shell is. Check out a lot of the great boxers who have used it in the past. Of course, like Mayweather is the biggest example. Um, but there are plenty who have that style. So there's a lot that you can check out, so you can kind of see it, but then you can kind of see how you can use it in Sanda in particular, since this is the subject of my YouTube channel. But I find it very useful, very efficient. Um, yeah, so I think maybe what we can do is also even try to put out some of our sparring footage, because like my student who wants to be competing, Tani. Actually, you've seen Tani on our videos. So we'll spar a lot. So maybe I'll try to get more footage, especially since our classes are starting again, right? Starting on Monday, so we'll have more sparring time, and so you can see how this new kind of meta works. But it's kind of funny because I don't think it's so new, but I think a lot of people are adopting these things, and of course, totally, it's trends, and so the longer you're around, say like martial arts, you can see how these trends come and go. So I think right now this is what's popular. So kind of to recap, right? So we got a few things. Calf kick, calf kick first, right? Is dominating over the thigh kick. Um, High volume blitzing and angles. All right, so you're still doing a bunch of like a bunch of punches, right? But then cutting angles, and as you fade away, maybe you can throw some round kicks or something, right? Um, so what like the benefit is that it makes it very hard to counter strike. Where if you get in, you throw your combo, and then you fade at an angle, fade away. It makes it real hard for them to like turn towards you, so they can efficiently do some kind of heavy counter. Uh, the front number three, the front kick or the teep, becoming more of a stronger weapon. They're discovering the Sanda side thrust, right? Um, how it can be used for so many things. Right? And then number four, the more advanced distance control. So instead of just shelling up, right, people are using more parries rather than blocks. So it helps you can so that you can see better what's going on, and then also more boxing adaptations. And number five, like a smart defense and kind of Philly shell adaptations. So some boxing centric kickboxers are integrating more head movement and shoulder rolls. Um, and they're showing that you might not have to be so worried about the head kicks, right? Because you're still keeping your defense up. You're still keeping, you still have your guards, shoulders up. So this, like the whole idea of like a head kick knocking you out or something. It's not like you're just having your head up and moving your neck or something like that. And uh, yes, if you did that, then yes, you would be very susceptible to head kick knockouts, right? So, but that's not the way you're going to be doing it, right? And you don't even see like Mayweather and them like just like having their head out, because even in boxing you'll get knocked out. Just so um, some people just like over exaggerate, right? Especially if you don't do things the way they say. Then they're gonna say like, no, that's garbage, and you're gonna get knocked out or whatever. So no, we're seeing this the new meta showing that um, that's just not the case, right? It's just not true. You're seeing these champions in one championship kickboxing just dominating, and then like how I started the talk here about Chenjing Wang. He is dominating World Sanda in the adult division, using a lot of boxing, a lot of great kickboxing. Um, and he's still able to take people down, right? But you know, it's awesome to win by TKO or knockout, right? So, um, so it's why not take that win, because then you can also transition easily into pro kickboxing, right? So hopefully that kind of can help you even. Like, say if you're into kickboxing, you want to be doing some kind of a sanda or kickboxing, try to do these different cross training methods or styles of just like, the boxing can be beneficial. Training and pro kickboxing rules can be very beneficial. And then, yeah, the stand up grappling, uh, the takedowns and stuff, it would be great. Great. So, with that being said, hopefully that helps. And, so if no one has any questions, then let's go ahead and do our catchphrase. Oh yeah, actually, one more thing. You can always support us by being a member of our channel. If you want us to do like classes or courses or stuff, just let us know. Um, we have some on our actually on our website. I think we have one. I think we have like a self-defense one. So that's kungfuculture.com. We don't have much up there, but yeah, if there's anything you want to learn, or you can totally become a member of our channel. We have a bunch of different videos there for our members. So check it out. Help us support us because we're here, and we'll totally. Hopefully, you like our new catchphrase, right? So it's uh, what is it? What did I say? No, it's enlighten the mind and strengthen the body. That's really the whole idea behind kung fu, just like in general, right? So hopefully you like the new catchphrase. I'll do my best to memorize it. Maybe we'll put it on a t-shirt. All right. So thank you very much for listening or watching. See you next time.